Our founding fathers here in this country brought about the only true revolution that has ever taken place in man's history. Evolved the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny.
The United States of America, the greatest nation in history, ordained by our founders to be guided by divine providence. But today, we are witnessing the orchestrated disintegration of America. Take a few seconds and take a look around your town, your state, look at your country and your world, and boldly ask, what in the hell is going on?
But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
Welcome to the podcast Project Third Eye Opened, where we dare to question with boldness the events that are unfolding around us that others won't. At the end of the day, it is we the people who will decide the destiny of the nation. Now, introducing your host, Tony L.
Greetings, America. How the hell is everyone doing? This is another fantastic presentation of Project Third Eye Open. And this is Tony L. Like always, I always want to start off by giving blessing and happiness to all. And I want to always give thanks to the Most High. But without Him, let's try to get some started here. But without Him, I would not be here. And I would not have been born in the greatest country on the planet. And you would not be listening to me. These are very, very challenging times, fantastic times, the best times, though it may not seem that way, but it truly is. I am going to continue the presentation that we started last week in regards to rules for radicals. And I want to, hold on, let me go back out for a moment. Get this right. Hold on one moment. To share with you how I believe that this is one of the most prolific books in regards to politics ever. At the same, it's all about how politics are used to alter people's way of thinking, alter their perception, in many ways alter their reality. And I want to share a little bit about the first installment for those who haven't seen it. If you haven't, definitely would appreciate you going back and seeing it and watching it, listening to it. Saul Alinsky tutored Barack Obama. Let that sink in. Their paths crossed in Chicago. When you go back and you replay Barack Obama's mannerism, his agenda, how he laid it out, how he said that they were on the eve of fundamentally transforming this country, this is what he's basing that on. And I have to say, he's done just that. 8 years of him, 4 years of Biden, Hillary Clinton almost becoming president, And then you had the acolytes below them throughout government, particularly on the left, some on the right. And then you look at how the right had to respond and continues to have to respond, because these tactics have not been presented in the light for all to see. Let that roll around in your head. It's like having termites. And though you may see them maybe in the spring swarming, then they disappear and you think they're gone. And you never had an inspector to come out and inspect your foundation. And you believe that your foundation is sound. Because no one brought to light the real infestation that is going on beneath your feet and around you. That is what the 12 rules for radicals represent to our nation. And I ended with rule 3. We're going to do all 12, but I'm only going to do 3 at a time, because I want y'all to get a real big bite of this. And I want y'all to understand, and I want to go into it and add my viewpoint, and I don't want to rush it. So I think it's best that I do it this way, so y'all get a full grasp of what we're dealing with here. So with rule 4, make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. Example, if the rule is for every letter gets a reply, send 30,000 letters. But basically overwhelm the system, their system. And we could go back to Klaus Pivens. These people all eat from the same trough. Alinsky, Klaus Pivens, all eat from the same trough. Karl Marx, all haters of free-minded individuals, all haters of the capitalist system, all lovers of top-down government institutions, all lovers of people who do not want to think for themselves. They all eat from the same trough. And this is what people refer to. It's not a physical battle that we are involved in. We are involved in a spiritual battle on the galactic stage, good versus evil. Whether you want to talk about the X-Men, whether you want to talk about Star Trek, or a plethora of other presentations that have been brought to us in the form of entertainment. Whether you want to look at the Terminator, where you're talking about flesh and blood versus machine, the devil versus God, or again, it's basic good versus evil. This is what we are involved in right now. And it's not about law. It's not about necessarily right and wrong. It's whose will is going to triumph over the other. What philosophy or belief are you willing to stand up for and die for? people those who are, my humble opinion, those who are on the demonic side, who are in essence already dead spiritually, they don't mind dying for their cause. I'm not saying that we should join them. Don't get me wrong. But those who don't see any wrong in what they're doing, their bounds are endless. So that's one thing that we have to come to grips with when you look at the demonic things that are occurring on the left, and that they are professing, and that they are enabling, and that they are themselves prophetizing. This man and those like him, Obama, Biden, their view of righteousness and rightness is vocally skewed. And many of us on the side of Christendom, we have a hard time believing that people will go to that length, because we don't see ourselves doing that. That's not how we were raised. That's not that's not what holds us together. But if nothing else, we need to understand our enemy, so we won't be so surprised by the things that they do, and we may be more prepared, hopefully, to react accordingly. Maybe not in the same way, but to react, not just lay and take it. So here we go. Goes on to say that this is a serious rule. The besieged entities' very credibility and reputation is at stake, because if activists catch it lying or not living up to its commitments, they can continue to chip away at the damage. Again, and you will see this as a technique that repeats itself. It goes from it attaches from our blind side to challenge what we believe, what our will is, what are we willing to do to protect our ground. And unfortunately, we give up our ground, and we show our will is not strong as theirs. And so therefore they're able to push us from where we stand, because we don't defend it. I remind people, I don't mean to get too far off topic. I remind people that the Confederate battle flag was just that, a Confederate battle flag, until it started to show up during periods of lynchings and other atrocities, as someone would put it. Then it became attached to those atrocities, to the point that what it was originally designed for is no longer relevant or even recognized. Never mind the fact that at many times, if at least the Stars and Stripes were present at lynchings and periods of atrocities, but there's no dishonor or shame showing or glory. And I'm not saying that it should be. I'm just saying, if we're going to be equally balanced, we need to be equally balanced, or don't do it at all. But history tells no lies. If we don't know history, then we don't know how to recognize true wrong or imbalance, if that makes sense. So how did Barack Obama, and if y'all don't remember, I'm comparing Barack Obama uses of the rules for radicals, Biden, and Trump. So Barack use Rule 4 in holding Republicans to their bipartisanship promises. Example, exposing Republican obstructionism on health care during Obama's first run. And this had to do with, of course, the ACH. Because often Republicans campaign on bipartisanship, relationship, responsible governance, and working across the aisles. Fairness, cooperation. Who don't want that in the organization, right? You want people to get along, want people to communicate. Remember, even during Ronald Reagan and Chip O'Neill, Democrat, liberal, House Speaker, though both Irish, they got along handsomely. They even had beers after having drag out fights, verbally speaking, in regards to their political views. That's the way it used to be. So when Barack Obama pushed the Affordable Cares Act, he publicly invited Republicans to negotiate, holding summits and televised meetings. Republicans, on the other hand, said, nah, we ain't doing it, because we see a trap. But that allowed Obama to say that they're being hypocrites by rejecting his offer about bipartisanship. Democrats then argued, they said they want to fix health care, but the Republicans refused to engage. They claimed to work for the American people, yet the Republicans, this is referring to Republicans, they claim to work for the American people, yet they won't negotiate with us. This put Republicans in a lose-lose situation. Why? Because they refuse to defend their ground, to make their will, if nothing else, comparatively the same strength as the Democrats. To present their position, articulate their position, because right is always going to outshine wrong. But you got to present right in an articulate fashion where anybody can understand. So Obama was successful in using Rule 4 by forcing Republicans to live up to their own rhetoric of bipartisanship. Obama's team weakened their credibility because they did not stand on their ground. They did not articulate their position. They did not seek to defend their position to show they have a stronger will to defend their position. They just receded from it and surrendered it. What did Biden do? Biden, being a follower and being up on Obama for 8 years plus, he used it to hold the Republicans to their law and order rhetoric. Example, January 6th and Republican accountability. How did he do this? Says Republicans who historically position themselves as the party of law and order, condemning riots and civil unrest like Black Lives Matter in 2020. After the January 6th Capitol riots, Biden's administration, Democrats used that rhetoric against them, saying that you say you stand for law and order, yet you defend the rioters. You claim to back the police, yet officers were attacked that day. And this is all BS. Easily refuted. Republicans chose not to even really strongly refute it. One, as has came out since, and even during the so-called congressional hearings, many people entered the Capitol because they really didn't know what was really going on. They weren't there to riot. Though hundreds of people got arrested through Biden's police state, largely on trumped up charges, that's why most of them were pardoned by now President Trump. Rightfully so. They should never have been a political prisoner during the years of Biden. And it's a good thing that Kamala didn't get the seat, because she will more than likely continue their incarceration unlawfully. Secondly, no police were killed by the so-called rioters. Not saying that there was some injured, because when a person is attacked, just for standing there and not really knowing why, emotions run high. But there was one writer who was killed, Miss Ashley Babbitt. Nobody wants to talk about her though, because she don't count. Outside of that, no one was killed that day other than Ashley Babbitt. Those are the facts. Republicans could have easily explained that, or at least attempted to. And in spite of the Democrat circus, and it's the reason why many of them who had a hand in that so-called congressional hearing, Biden gave preemptive pardons. Why did he do that? If they were innocent, just doing the job. Many of the transcripts from that has been destroyed, from what I hear. Why would they do that? The Republicans chose not to fight. So they gave the ground to the Democrats. This forced many Republicans into a difficult position, condemning the riot would anger the base. Of course, there was a record number of people to go to the grounds to listen to Trump that day than hardly ever. There's not been a testament of just how massive the crowd was that day. How many people came from all over the world seeking justice, for one, and secondly, to hear their president. Nobody's talking about that. This wasn't just like a couple hundred people. This was thousands of people to hear the president of the United States at that time still. In the dead of winter. You think anybody would want to do that for Biden? You think anybody would want to do that for Obama? In the dead of winter. On their own dime. Nobody wants to talk about that. This was not a fringe element on the right that was in attendance that day. There's a fringe element on the left that was there that day. but nobody wants to talk about that. The result in the Republicans not standing their ground was eternal Republican division and loss of credibility among moderates. Because moderates want people to take a position. Let us hear your side. So we're able to make a decision. Again, no wars have ever been won by moderates. Keep that in mind. No statues anywhere is to celebrate a person who's a moderate. Either a person was on the left or on the right. They were on the bad side, they're on the good side, but they took a position. They took a position. They stood on the ground that they thought was just. You ain't got to agree with it. But they stood on the ground that they thought was just. That's why they are remembered today, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years after their passing, physical passing. Not one moderate has been bestowed that. Never will be. But yet they supposedly hold so much power in regards to politics. But they really don't. Most so-called moderates are conservative. That's why liberals have to lie to them so much and hide their true intentions. This war benefited Biden by forcing the Republicans to live up to their own law and order rhetoric. And you keep using that word rhetoric. Think about that, rhetoric. Biden's team exposed hypocrisy because they did not stand on their beliefs. A person who stands on belief can never be called a hypocrite. Never. But if you don't, then that becomes a you problem. So how did Trump use Rule 4? Using the media standard against them. Weaponizing fairness in the media coverage. The mainstream media claims that it follows neutrality. At the time, they claimed this. Objectivity and fairness in reporting. Trump called BS on that, rightfully so. Trump exploited this by constantly attacking the media, knowing they would bend over backwards to prove they won. This led to media outlets covering Trump excessively. Even negative coverage gave him more attention. Networks platforming Trump surrogates like Kellyanne Conway, forcing them to give airtime to his talking points. Overreaction by journalists making them appear emotional and partisan, further validating Trump's fake news claims. And you see that the media is even more exemplifying their partisanship, like they don't even care anymore. Trump just made them go cuckoo because they ain't never been challenged like that before. By holding the media to their own standards of fairness, Trump's campaign forced them to engage, even when it helped him. This benefited Trump using rules of radical number 2. His team knew the media would struggle to ignore a major political figure, forcing them to cover him even when it played into his hands. Again, you need to understand and recognize the difference in application of rules for radical tactics. The left use it to severely damage their enemy, whoever it may be, and to weaken the country. Trump and conservatives, for the most part, use these techniques to defend themselves and to make the country better. You always see this thread throughout rules of radicals and the applications by the left and by the right. Rule number 5, ridicule is man's most potent weapon. This rule emphasizes mockery as a political weapon. It is effective because it's emotional, difficult to counter, and makes opponents appear weak, foolish, or illegitimate. How did Obama do this? He used ridicule the Tea Party as extremism, mocking the Tea Party and birtherism in his first administration. What is birtherism? Birtherism comes from the fact that if y'all remember or don't remember, Trump claimed that Obama's birth certificate that he presented, supposedly from the state of Hawaii, was a forgery. Not necessarily a forgery, wasn't truthful. And in reality, he was right. But to the masses, the uneducated masses, Obama was allowed to turn this all into a joke. But if y'all know Barack Obama's birth name wasn't Barack Obama, it was Harry. Yes, Harry. But that was not the name on his birth certificate. And this is supposed to be the long form original birth certificate. It wasn't Harry. Nor do I think it said he was born outside the United States. It's either, I think he's from India. I may be wrong on that, but because he had two fathers, one birth father and one adopted father. But in any regard, that's not what that birth certificate showed. So he was able to flip this and make Trump like he's the idiot. It's because people don't read, and the fact that media was backing his position against Trump. Let's see. Okay. So the Tea Party movement, which emerged in 2009, framed itself as a serious grassroots movement against big government. Rather than engaging in direct policy battles, again, the left can never attack from direct or directly in front of you. They got to go from behind and from the side. They can never attack directly. So in not attacking directly, but Obama's team mocked their moves as extreme elements, making them appear that being Republicans irrational and fringe. At the 2011 White House Correspondents' Dinner, Obama publicly ridiculed Trump's birther claims, showing his long form birth certificate and joking that he had a live birth video. Again, he did this at a correspondence dinner, not at a congressional hearing, not under oath. He did this for public display to get the media, of course, and get public opinion on his side. This infuriated Trump and made the birther movement look ridiculous, discouraging mainstream conservatives from embracing it. Again, if you don't stand your ground, you're going to be pushed off it. And this is the lesson. For whatever reason, Republicans just refuse to consume. Democrat Party and the media portrayed the Tea Party rallies as extreme, racist, and conspiracy-driven, weakening their broader appeal. That means the Republican side. And the Tea Party was all about, one, bringing politics local and holding the government that was going on the spending binge with Obama, holding them accountable. That's it. That's all the people wanted, and they were called extreme. It's interesting. Anything that the left perceives as Americanism, standing on traditional American values, limited government, particularly limited government, it just drives them up the wall, and we got to be the bad guy, the extremist, the emotional context, emotional attacks had to be levied like a barrage of attacks from, I don't know, y'all remember that movie Braveheart? Yes, that barrage, when all the arrows were coming down in the field with the set ablaze. Yeah, that's serious. This work by mocking and delegitimizing the Tea Party and birtherism, Obama's team weakened the Republicans' credibility rather than engaging the Republicans in a serious debate. You will see that they never want to engage in a serious debate. They're always going to make it personal, always going to make it emotional. Never wanted to do it just man to man. Can't do it. Not won't do it. Can't do it. It's like exposing Dracula to garlic. It's not gonna work out well for them, and they know it. Biden used number 5 by mocking MAGA as being ultra MAGA, and attacked Trumpism. Using ultra MAGA as a ridicule strategy. This is not just a regular MAGA, this is ultra MAGA. Instead of debating Trumpism directly, again, won't do it, Biden's team mocked its extreme elements, using the term ultra MAGA to make it sound radical and unserious. Biden called Trumpism semi-fascist, which triggered outrage, but also forced Republicans to defend their movement in uncomfortable ways. How can Trump and what he attempted to do in his first term and what he's attempting to do now in his, I guess, second full term as fascist? When you look at what Obama did and what Biden did, and you could definitely label them as fascists. Or the party as a whole. It's fascinating to me that no one is reporting on the connection between the Democrat Party and communists. They don't hide it. In many Democrat Party, particularly national rallies, it's always a U.S. Communist Party flag. It's always, and there's always a socialist flag, a socialist party flag. Again, they're the ones who have a party called the Socialist Democrat Party. You don't see the Socialist Republican Party. You don't see the U.S. Communist Party flag that I've seen at a Republican rally. If I know that, Republicans know that, why don't they say it when they ever faced with being called what the Democrats are? They just don't. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is, they just don't. So they get hammered by lies. The liberal media and late night hosts relentlessly mock election deniers and Trump's legal troubles, further eroding public trust in MAGA aligned candidates. In regards to so-called election deniers, it's my opinion that the election, once the word got out that things wasn't quite kosher, to put it mildly, like there was some weird stuff that happened that night, like inexplicably votes that stopped getting counted. Oh, and Democrat strongholds, I go to bed, Trump is in the lead. I wake up, he's not only behind, he's lost already. What? In order to ensure the public that the election was on the up and up, that election should have been paused and a full, thorough federal investigation should have been held. Even if they had to appoint an independent counsel to make sure that it wasn't any view of Trump tipping the scales. Something should have happened other than nothing. And just for the fact of fairness or the real true perception of fairness, that should have been done, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Again, Republicans did not want to stand on their ground. So Biden was successful in using this by mocking Trumpism as extreme and unserious. Biden's team weakened Trump's appeal among moderates and independents. Again, moderates and independents are not that moderate. If you look at the what they value, they're conservative. The left are the true minority. It's just that they are able to appeal to moderates because Republicans' flaccidness, politically speaking. That's why. America is overall a conservative country. But we gotta have a champion. Trump is that champion now, but what about after he's gone? That's the question. Trump used number 4 by using ridicule, using nicknames, using media trolling like Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe, and insults politics. Trump's most famous rhetorical strategy was assigning demeaning nicknames to his opponents: Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe, Lying Ted, Little Marco, which, interestingly enough, like Little Marco is now Secretary of State under Trump's administration. Nothing personal. These insults stuck in people's minds, shaping public perception and making his opponents appear weak and untrustworthy. Media outlets covered these attacks endlessly and reinforcing them instead of debunking them. Again, accusation unrebutted stands the truth. This forced opponents into reaching emotionally, reacting emotionally rather than focusing on policy debates. This helped Trump in his relentless ridicule of opponents made it difficult for them to appear strong or credible, weakening their campaigns. Again, they just didn't know how to fight back or refuse to fight back. Trump got small hands, from what I understand. And isn't that a good comeback? I mean, it's kind of people standing back in the day, brothers used to stand around and do mama jokes. You know, of course, that game was fun. These days, probably get you killed. But insults are insults. Sticks and stones, right? Guess not. Number 6. A good tactic is one your people enjoy. They'll keep doing it without arguing and come back to do more. They're doing this thing, they're doing their thing, and will even suggest better ones. Radical activists, in this sense, are no different than any other human being. We all avoid unfun activities, but we reveal at and enjoy the ones that work and bring results. It's human nature. We don't like pain. We don't like being in an uncomfortable position. It's human nature. We all want to be pleased. We all want pleasure. We all want happy life. But when you're in war, it's your job to make your opponent as uncomfortable, unhappy as possible. How did Obama do this? Obama's administration used social media activism and celebrity engagement. Hope and change, meme culture. Hope and change. If y'all read thoroughly Saul Alinsky, you will see hope and change be one of his talking points. Can't make this shit up, y'all. Can't make this shit up. Hope and change. Obama's campaign and administration mastered social media early, making a political engagement fun, cool, and viral. His 2008 slogan, Hope and Change, became a meme, art piece, and cultural movement, making supporters feel part of something bigger. Oh, but Make America Great Again is the devil reincarnated. Y'all make this make sense. Y'all make this make sense. If any conservative would have laid a hand on anybody wearing a Hope and Change Baraka t-shirt, they would have been put in federal prison. But yet, people all over the country would beat over the head if they were there, even now, refuse service at a coffee diner if they dare wear a red cap with Make America Great Again? It's bad? Psychology is a wonderful thing, y'all. It's a dangerous thing if you don't understand when it's being applied against you to your detriment as a weapon. And that's what Rules for Radicals is all about. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Celebrities enthusiastically endorsed and promoted him. Oprah, Beyonce, Will I Ams. Yes, we can. Video. In the 2012 election, was created fun, shareable tactics like the big bird meme, mocking Mitt Romney for wanting to defund PBS. Oh, by the way, PBS is on the chopping block. Better late than never. Biden's full of woman joke after Romney's debate gaffe. The Obamacare is cool messaging with celebrities like Jack Galifianakis. That's the guy from Hangover. If y'all don't remember, he's a fat, chubby guy with the heavy face. Interviewing Obama, which of course I didn't see this interview. And this worked because the supporters love engaging in these tactics, making them go viral without much promoting. Social media. Of course, at the time, we had Twitter, which is very liberal. And then you had, of course, YouTube, which is very liberal, all pushing Obama's agenda and these memes. The cool factor made young voters excited to participate. Political messaging became entertainment, not just dry policy talk. It's entertainment. Nothing real about it. It's entertainment. Particularly to the young people. It was cool. It's like the true useful idiots. They didn't care what was behind the messaging. They just saw that they were able to eat cake for breakfast. That's all they cared about. Not only were they allowed to eat cake for breakfast, but they were able to eat cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Have at it. It's good for you. Don't worry about the calories or the fat or any of the bad stuff that will come afterwards, like death. Just have fun today. It's all about today. How do Biden use number 6? Again, satirizing MAGA extremists, using Dark Brandon, to energize Democrats. I don't remember Dark Brandon, but anyway, Biden's administration initially struggled with enthusiasm, but found a fun viral tactic, Dark Brandon, a meme that flipped the insult, "Let's go Brandon," into a pro-Biden symbol. Now remember, "Let's go Brandon," I guess you got to be in different camps, because I don't know anything about Dark Brandon. It's something that I found out in my research, but before I never heard of Dark Brandon. The meme depicted Biden as a powerful, laser-eyed figure defeating MAGA extremists. How can anybody imagine Biden as powerful, like a superhero? I mean, you gotta have a really, really, really good imagination for that. Maybe it's just me. Somebody who was cognitively challenged from before he entered the presidency office. It energized young Democrats, all going for the young people who previously saw Biden as boring. This turned Biden's image from dull politician to unexpected badass, at least in meme culture. Make believe. This worked because Democrats enjoyed the meme battle, making it fun rather than just policy heavy. Again, cake for breakfast. Let's have fries and carbs and fried food for dinner, lunch, no vegetables. Right? It flipped a MAGA insult into an empowering slogan for Biden. It reinvigorated parts of the Democrat base that were disengaged. This turned Biden's image. Okay, I did that. Okay. What this did, it basically, I guess, in liberal country, this made him forget at how boring and ineffective Biden was. Again, nobody was thrilled about this guy. Nobody was thrilled about this guy. Remember those images of his so-called political rallies where nobody was there? Remember that? Remember that? And there was no energy behind him before he made his exit the last time. There's no energy behind him. None. He didn't really deserve any enthusiasm. There's no charisma there about him. He was ineffective. And he hurt everybody politically. Made our country a social basket case, putting innocent Americans in jail just because of different political beliefs. Turning Americans against each other during COVID for no real reason whatsoever, just because of different, again, beliefs and points of view. And trying to make us believe that a woman can be a man. What's exciting about that? What's uplifting about that? Trump used number 6 in MAGA rallies and online trolling. MAGA rallies, and again, he had to combat Biden's meme warfare. Again, using Saul Alinsky's tactics as a defense weapon, not an offensive weapon. Trump supporters genuinely enjoyed his rallies. You can't say that about any Democrat rally. I mean, I guess you could say Obama, his first term, not so much the second term. Definitely not Biden in any like or manner. But people will sleep out overnight in the cold, in the rain, in the blistering heat to get just a glimpse of Donald Trump. Then his actual second attempt to repeat, and definitely in this last run, genuinely like this man, genuinely want to hear what this man has to say. Genuine is the word. Trump's online base, especially on platforms like 4chan and Twitter, which is now X, embraced internet trolling as a political tool, creating viral memes of mocking Democrats, e.g. Sleepy Joe, let's go Brandon, spreading slogans like "Make America Great Again" and "Build That Wall," using humor and satire to energize their base and infuriate opponents. The fun, rebellious, and countercultural nature of MAGA made it self-sustaining. This worked for Trump because Trump's base loved his tactics, making them eager to spread them. Meme warfare and rallies became a movement people wanted to participate in. Again, to counter the extremists that they were already doing it. But the right is made to be the bad guy. Not just here, if you notice, when you hear what's going on in Europe and in Canada, the media makes right extremist, the bad guy. Never hear anything about the extreme left, always the extreme right. You think that's by accident, or do you think they got instructions from up high to level the right on both sides of the water? Again, Saul Alinsky's tactics are not going anywhere until a light is shown on it. How divisive it is, how destructive it is, and how the left uses it to bludgeon its opponents. How the left uses it to destroy this country. If that was done, no political figure, particularly on the left, would dare use his tactics again, because we would see it coming. And we said, no, 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 no. Truth. Truth. Give us truth. But it all starts when you're in war, when you're on battlefield, where you are one of the teams on the football field, baseball field, soccer field, basketball field, court, and you're facing your opponent. Your objective is to make them kneel, to impose your will on them, particularly football, or you want to say rugby, to make that other person in front of you move in your direction against their will. That's what Democrats do. That's their objective. The trouble is not what they do, it's what the Republicans don't do. We don't have a true opposition party. If you hear Republicans like John Lindbergh talk about communism, talk about the Democrats, when you listen to Reagan talk about Democrats, he's going for blood. He knows who the enemy is. He's calling the enemy his enemy. That's why he was so loved. Because moderates, independents, and conservatives loved that man, because he spoke from the heart. You didn't have to agree with him, but he told you who the enemy was, as he saw it. Or had to be the Russians, the Chinese, or the extremists in the Middle East, or the Democrats, socialism. He told you those were the enemies of our way of life, that he wasn't having it. Whether you liked him or didn't. You can respect somebody who tell you where they stand and they're serious about it. You ain't gotta like them, but you can respect them. But that's number 6. I will do the next 3. And our next installment was probably the same time, at least by this time next week. So look for that. Till then, be blessed, be good, and be free.
Thanks for listening to today's show. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. And look for Project Third Eye Open on your favorite social media platforms. Check out our webpage at projectthirdeyeopen.com. And that's Third Eye with the letter I. projectthirdeyeopen.com. Or drop us a note at tonyel@projectthirdeyeopen.com. That's tonyel@projectthirdeyeopen.com. As you wait for our next podcast to drop, don't take anything we've said as fact. Instead, do your own homework, make up your own mind, then take action. Until next time, be blessed.